intern with Students for Life of Michigan. Today, I'm going to talk with you guys about some common criticisms that you are going to get as a pro-life activist. I'm sure many of you have heard some of these before, and a lot of them actually fall under the same category. So you're going to have some people who are going to be attacking the actual argument that you present. You're going to make a moral argument against abortion, and someone is going to say, no, this is why you're wrong. But a lot of times, you're going to get people who don't know how to address that argument, so instead they're going to say, you are inconsistent. They might not say that directly. There's a couple ways that this argument is manifested, but it's one of the most common things that I've heard on campus as a pro-life activist. One way that they might say it is that you can't be pro-life unless you are also fill in the blank. They're going to say unless you're actively fighting poverty or fighting against racism or any other sort of injustice against humanity. They might also say that you are only pro-life until birth. So you only care about the humanity and the safety of a person until they're born, and then you stop caring. A third way that it might be phrased is that you only care about the baby and not about the woman. They're going to say if you truly believe that human life is valuable, you wouldn't just be fighting for justice for the baby, but you'd also be fighting for the woman and for all of these other justice issues for that matter. So these are three different ways of phrasing it. There's many more out there. There's different variations, but basically the very core of these arguments is not defending the morality of abortion, but it's saying that you as a pro-life activist are inconsistent. And they're not just calling out you, they're calling out the whole pro-life movement. So as pro-life activists, we need to be prepared to defend ourselves well, and not only defend ourselves, but also redirect the conversation back to the argument, the central issue, that the unborn is human and it is wrong to intentionally kill them. So there's three different kinds of ways that you can respond to these criticisms. I can't tell you exactly which one to use because it all depends on who you're talking to and what their real motivations are. So for that, I'm going to refer you back to the video before this where we talked about hearing someone's argument out fully, because that helps you understand where they're coming from and why they're criticizing you. So now we're going to go ahead and dive into these three different ways that you can respond. The first one is to narrate the discussion. So when you presented your pro-life case and someone came up to you and said, well, you only care about the unborn until they're born, you can say, hold on, I really want to address your argument. I want to talk about what you're saying, but before we do that, let's take a step back and look at where this discussion is going. I just presented a case on why I believe abortion is wrong, and then you just told me that you think I'm being inconsistent because I think abortion is wrong, but I'm not fighting these other injustices. So we can talk about this thing right here. We can talk about whether or not I'm being inconsistent, but we need to be clear that whatever comes of this conversation does not change my argument. So if you want to talk about the morality of abortion, if you want to say abortion is okay, you have to address what I said over here. That's a really important clarification to make, and a really good tool when you're doing that is to clarify what this is and use a three-part syllogism that says it is wrong to intentionally kill an innocent human being. Abortion intentionally kills an innocent human being. Therefore, abortion is wrong. So that's one way that you could address it, by clarifying the discussion. The second way is to use a timeline. So this is more for someone who's not so much combative, but really deeply cares about a justice issue. This is someone who is saying, like, I know that you care about the unborn, but what about world hunger, or what about poverty, or what about racism? And their heart is so drawn to this issue, and they can't understand why you're over here talking about abortion. So the way I do this is I set it up as a timeline, and I say, this is the very beginning of someone's life. This is when they're conceived, right here, all the way up to 9 months, when they're in the womb, and the womb is the most dangerous place in the world to be. I believe that persons in the womb are individual human beings that have the same rights as you and I. So I'm over here, and I'm fighting for justice for these people that I care so deeply about. Now let's say that I'm fighting for justice for a little girl, and let's say that her mom decides to keep her, and she goes on to be put into foster care. And let's say that the foster care system is really, really broken, and she's been abused, and she's been bounced from home to home. If that's where your heart is and you care so deeply about that, you're fighting for justice for that same little girl farther down in her lifespan. And let's say that 10, 15 years down the road, she makes a mistake and she's put in prison. But let's say the penal system did not handle her case well. She fell through the cracks. That may be where you're passionate. You may be passionate about the penal system and the injustices that occur there, and you're fighting for justice for that same girl all the way over here. The reason behind what we're doing is all the same, because we believe that human beings have a right to justice and that they're inherently valuable. I believe that that starts right here, and because of the immensity of the issue that abortion is, I fight for it in this time. But you're also fighting for it over here for the same person. So this kind of equalizes, and this brings us onto common ground. So you're not combative, you're not escalating the argument, which sometimes is necessary. Sometimes you need to disagree with someone. But this allows them to see that we're all fighting injustices for the very same reason. The third strategy that you can use is to show someone how the pro-life movement truly is helping women and addressing other issues. So again, it's all going to depend on context. This might come from someone who's skeptical, like who believes abortion is wrong, but is just kind of skeptical of the pro-life movement as a whole. The best way to do this is to highlight the work of pregnancy resource centers. There are so many pregnancy resource centers across the country who not only advocate for the rights of the unborn, but also provide holistic support for the mother and the rest of the family. They do this by providing parenting classes, material resources, housing, and any other needs that the woman may have as she's going through this pregnancy and learning how to be a parent. So, there you have it. That's how you address this really common criticism of the pro-life movement, that we are inconsistent. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you.